Okay, I'm going to show you, or rather, I'm going to explain the basics of aging. And what is that? Too long, didn't read. TLDR. It's basically energy. The human body ages more when it processes more heavy energy compared to processing light energy, happy energy, feeling good emotions and all that. So let's see if there's can you see this? Okay, kind of. Okay, so you can see this. Good. So we have the lower point of emotions, which it says shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage. Now, once we get to courage, that's where the heart chakra is, your heart energy center. If you don't want to talk about the chakras, that's fine. We can go right to the basics of everything, which is energy. The human body processes energy through the nervous system. The nervous system transmits all the information from all parts of the body to all the other parts. Your thoughts are continuously releasing waves of energy which are impacting your cellular structure, which is affecting how your physical form shapes and reshapes itself every single moment. And within 9 months, you have a completely new body, whether you accept it or not. That's just how it works. Okay. This is why people say the state of neutrality. It's a high vibrational point, which means your cells are vibrating really rapidly, so they're constantly doing something beneficial. Whereas if you're feeling lots of pride and anger and desire, fear, grief, sorrow, and those kinds of emotions, you're imposing and pressing down on the nervous system with very dense, slow moving energy. Now, when you have slow moving energy going through something like the human body, it creates pressure. When that pressure is created, it can lead to pain. When it isn't strong enough to create pain, to create some kind of a pain sensation in the body, it instead creates decay, entropy, the lack of movement, the pressure, the force of energy upon the body. Are you with me so far? So let's say we see someone who's 90 years old, and we're like, okay, that old person must have been through tons of negative emotions, negative energy, and lots of pressure, lots of pain, lots of lack of nutrients or vitamins, minerals, and all that stuff. But there are people who have perfectly good and normal, happy, sunny, bright, hippie, happy-go-lucky days and lifetimes where it's just pure peace, and they still age. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is the ingrained 100 monkey effect of aging being a normal part of the human body and the human system. The simple truth, if you research this yourself, you will realize that the human body only ages because it is told it must age, which it's told by other people and other examples of human expression that it perceives. So when a human being sees others that are varying in expression, it finds patterns within those expressions to mimic, to create a sense of tribal connection to its species. So if we lived in a society where everybody looked like a supermodel, we would live in a society where everybody looked like a supermodel. There wouldn't be anybody that's aged or wrinkled because there would be no psychic, subconscious examples of anyone who is, has given into entropy in that subconscious way. So the basics of human aging are because you tell yourself that you must age on a subconscious level. And those that simply are firm in their belief that they are made in God's image do not even acknowledge aging as aging. Like, there's no reason to age. You can go when you want to go. You are an aspect of the infinite creator. When it's your time, it's your time. And you and God decide that, not your body. And those of you, and this might be triggering for some, but any dis-ease within the body, any symptom, any aging, any wrinkles, any grief lines, anything that's done to your body that no one else contributed to, you did it to yourself. Through thoughts, through energy, through emotions, which are energy in physical motion through your physical body, which then turn to actions that you take with your physical body that you experience with your eyes. And then if we want to get into the eyes, they perceive light. They cause massive amounts of distortion until the brain figures out what it is that it's looking at, which is all done instantly. That's a lot of energy going through the eyes. So when people are staring a lot at computers or not enough at nature, their eyes start becoming more weak because they don't have the natural light to perceive. They don't have the natural variances of the three-dimensional world, including the other aspects of the 3D world that the eyes perceive that the human mind has blocked out, because it seems to society that certain extrasensory perception abilities aren't, accepted. So the mind blocks them out. The mind creates conformity within the body, structure and organization, which means when you feel a lot of shame, when you're looking at a lot of things that bring guilt, when you're stuck in previous memories and traumatic experiences, your face starts to resemble that of someone in pain, which is why we see older people with the forehead lines in between their eyebrows, and then the jowls and the frown lines around the mouth. It isn't because they're angry all the time. It's because the energy in their body has been so programmed to be negative and hurtful that their body is adapting to that network, the nervous system, the neural network that's being constantly lit up. Where is that other image? It's kind of like this. So you're supposed to, you have all these different light waves, radio waves, gamma, alpha, beta, whatever waves coming off of you all the time. You can see all of them if you program yourself to be able to perceive them, like blinking your eyes and changing a camera lens to see each and every one. Now, if you could see them, if you allow yourself to see them, you would notice that people with negative energy and negative emotional states, negative moods, negative mental patterns, complaining, lack, poverty, etc., grief, trauma, PTSD, all these clinical terms and everything. Even physical ailments like diseases that seem incurable, diseases that are curable, things that are recurring like UTIs or dental issues, it's all due to the energetic field. The energetic field is influenced by the thoughts the consciousness is observing and then allowing to influence the body. So the thought comes in, the consciousness perceives it, it then chooses to respond emotionally to the thought or to release the thought. So if there's a thought of grief, it takes the thought in and it says, oh, I'm going to feel sad about this. And if the emotion stays in there for more than 5 seconds or so, then the nervous system starts pulsing the sensations of grief through the system. When those sensations of grief go through the system, your nerves, your blood vessels, your cells, your mitochondria are all being told that you are in pain. So when that happens, your physical structure changes to resemble the body being in pain so that others can see you in pain and come to your assistance. So when we see the elderly, we're supposed to be seeing people who are asking for help, not people who are ready to die. They're elderly looking because they are at death's door because they're giving up on their bodies on a subconscious level because it's too much to bear to be within the body. That's what aging is. It is the physical body being too overburdened by negative imprinted patterns. And in order to break that pattern, the mind has to be completely reprogrammed, or the body has to be dropped and a new body has to be taken, which is called reincarnation. So aging is solely reliant on how much entropy you allow within your body to exist at any given time. Entropy being the slowing of these wiggly, wiggly, wiggly waves that go through your body at all times. So the more positive emotions you're constantly feeling in your body, those emotions will constantly tell your cells to replicate and duplicate and multiply in ways that exhibit pleasant dispositions, behaviors, and behaviors of cells. So if you're trying, like if you're someone who would like to have white hair or someone who wants to have dark hair, you simply continuously feel, think, and affirm that you have it and you will get it. In the same context, it applies with aging. You can reverse aging because you can talk to your cells. Problem is, there are beliefs in the way that prevent that, which are reinforced through what you see when you look outside or look anywhere with your eyes. Because there are perceptions. Think of them like genres in a movie. If you're going to see a horror movie, or you think it's a horror movie, the entire time, even if you're watching a romantic comedy, you're going to be waiting for like some scary scene to show up. But if nobody tells you it's a romantic comedy and you think it's a horror movie, everything that happens is a plot twist to the horror movie, isn't it? So everything you're perceiving in reality, and you're like, oh, aging is, you can't say aging is impossible. Well, look at your society. Is any of it saying that reversing aging is possible? Not really, very few. So your perception of aging being reversible or aging being a sign of the body needing help is skewed due to your um, dictionary of what you have in regards to the data you've collected so far. Once you have more data, you will have more options to choose from in regards to what you choose to believe. Right now, your beliefs are skewed because you haven't been given all of the information, all the data to have a wider variance of choices. So humans are birthed, they grow, they decay, they die. That seems to be the normal. Whereas when someone shows up and they live 1,000 years, they're called, a legend or a myth or a fiction or whatever. When that's the normal function of the body, you're not supposed to age. You're supposed to pick and choose where you want that to stop. Now, when I say that, some of you might be, feeling, well, what do you mean? I can't tell my grandma to stop aging. Technically, you can, and she can. The trick to it is remembering what it felt like at the age you want to express yourself as. So let's say you're somebody that's 60 years old and you're like, oh, I don't even remember what it was like to be 30 years old. Okay, well, do you remember any specific day from when you were 50 or 40 or when you were like 39? Do you remember a day in your past where you can vividly recall how it felt to be in a younger body? Can you physically, emotionally, psychically, mentally, energetically feel yourself as your previous self right now. Can you feel the way you felt an hour ago? If you can continuously maintain a stable connection of energy within yourself that is repetitive, routine, disciplined in the variance you allow. So you can go from, blissful to prideful, but you're not going to let yourself go from prideful to angry to, fearful. You're going to find some kind of a, place to stop at, which most say neutrality because it's still part of the throat and the heart chakra, the higher heart. Whereas when you get to courage, when somebody feels a lot of courage and you're leaving that in your body, you're still activating fight or flight. When you're feeling pride, you're not putting effort into anything. You're sitting there feeling pride as if you put the effort in. When you're feeling anger, you're busy releasing massive amounts of energy flooding through your system, which isn't doing anything. When you're desiring, you're suppressing the energy within your system and you're creating room for more energy to come in of what you desire. So you're not really doing anything other than pushing against your own energy field to make less of it. And then when you're feeling fear, you're minimizing and contracting all of your body to be less hittable in a way as an animal. You know how like I don't know, like a wild cat in a cage like goes into the corner and hisses. It's kind of like that's what fear does to the body. It releases survival mechanisms. So if you stay from neutral, kind of like, I don't know what to do, kind of bored, but willing to do something. And then you just do busy work. You keep yourself entertained. You help those around you. Your body will maintain that balance within that spectrum. So even if somebody says something that totally triggers you, you might fall down to pride and a little bit of anger, but you're still above suffering. You're still getting by and you're heading back towards the flow. Whereas if you keep yourself in suffering and shame, you're at a very low wavelength, which means your cells are going really slow, which means your cells think you're dying, which means your body starts decaying. That's why young people are so young looking, because their cells are constantly in joy, love, unimaginably ridiculous reasoning for being in love, and being at peace and thinking that they know everything with enlightenment. Have you ever hung out with a teenager? They think they know everything and everything's fine and they're happy all the time. And when they're angry, they get to anger, then they get prideful, then they get courageous and do something stupid and rebellious, and then they're back to neutral and they're willing to do the dishes. It's that spectrum. They don't let themselves get past anger. That's why so many teenage kids get, when they're afraid of something, they immediately respond with anger and pride, because subconsciously they know not to let themselves get to grief or else they age. And this was also shown in the WandaVision episode on Disney, where her spoiler warning, her kids were going to grow, like more, make themselves grow because of a grief moment. And she's like, no, please don't. That's for those with eyes to hear and ears, whatever, eyes to see and ears to hear. That's that. You age with grief. What's the common lifespan for people? 75, right? Grief, 75 frequency wavelength at the suffering range. Try it for yourself today. For spans of 16 seconds, which interrupts a regular neural network's pattern in your mind, if for 16 seconds at a time you can interrupt what you're feeling and force a positive emotion within your body will eventually build a ladder for itself to get itself out of those states. This is called alchemy. So let's say you're someone who's constantly stuck in shame, guilt, sorrow, PTSD, and all that stuff. Break the pattern every 16 seconds and try to get yourself to feel nothing. Be neutral. Be apathetic. Think of something sad. Listen to a sad song. Then break the pattern and immediately put some weird techno music on and be a little prideful or Go look at some pretty jewelry or something that makes you sparkle and think you have a lot of money. Get yourself out step by step by step. Break the pattern every 16 seconds and do something emotionally, energetically different. So that energy, that emotion comes through your body and out of you through an expression, which is part of the willingness and acceptance, the throat chakra, the expression cell, which releases that energy and allows more universal energy to flow through your body from the crown to the feet and out into the earth. Okay, you're an electrical light being. If you're constantly feeling dark emotions, your body is going to decay. This is also why water is so important, sunlight, and being in nature. Barefoot. You are an animal on a planet. You are God itself, but you are inhabiting an animal form. That animal is called the anthropos, the human, the light being, the God child. It is the only vessel capable within all of the universes to truly house the full expression of Source I am, God, Goddess, divine intelligence, spirit, whatever you want to call it, the Tao, the Chi, that consciousness, the infinite and unfathomable. The human being is its vehicle, it's its car, it's its favorite. It's like, when it wants to go out on the night on the town, it pops up the human suit and it goes on to, has a field day somewhere. It doesn't go into a cat unless it wants to be a cat. It doesn't go into a butterfly unless it wants to be a butterfly. And it's infinite intelligence, it's everything. But when it wants to go and live and experience and do things and create, it comes into a human body. At least on this planet, which is what you're experiencing. Unless you're another species, which then this will be a different video for your species. But right now we're talking about humans. Okay. Are we clear? You don't need to age. Aging is simply caused by emotions. Lack of positive emotions. This should be enough for you to think about for a while. Re-watch the video a few times. It will definitely give you more information that you didn't think was there before. Also, when you learn things, you might want to come back to these basics and Archon and Aeon videos and listen to them again. There will be more information for you once you have leveled up. That's how they work. You know this. Okay, see you next time you watch this. Bye.